and finally on the subjection of women. The most important work is probably his work on subjection of women, which is inspired many feminists even up to this day. He argued that women are actually worse in their conditions than slaves, because man expects women even love rather than just obedience. At least from slaves, they don't expect love. That's the bottom line. Then Karl Marx, well, was born in 1818, studied Bonn and Berlin. I probably can rush through of his life, probably better known than others. Met 44, Friedrich Engels, was expelled from France for revolutionary activities. 49, he moves to London, became involved in politics, and then finally died in 1883. His major works are the Paris manuscripts you will be reading from. It's a young Marx about alienation, the German ideology, the foundations of what is called historical materialism, the Communist Manifesto, a pamphlet, which is you will read from it, some still interesting arguments, and finally the major work, Das Kapital. This is Das Kapital, and I just skip the rest of and go on to Friedrich Nietzsche because I'm already running out of time. Well, Nietzsche was 44 as a son of a Lutheran minister. Studied at the University of Bonn. For a while was a professor at Basel, became great friends with Richard Wagner, then became bitter enemies later on, and I will explain to you what is the reason of friendship and animosity. He actually got a nervous breakdown, and the last 10 years of his life he was just out of touch. He was insane. His major work is what we will be discussing, was written in 1987. It is the genealogy of morals. And again, I will have to skip what his contributions are. He is first of the postmodern theorists. He questions, right, absolute rationality, and the major bottom line is all knowledge is from a certain perspective, including the moral values, cannot be rooted in some universalistic principles. Sigmund Freud is another author we will be dealing with, born in 1956 and lived a very, very long life, moved to Vienna, studied medicine, and of course discovered psychoanalysis and created the Viennese Psychoanalytic Society, still a major movement. 1938 left Vienna for London. His major work is the first one, The Studies of Hysteria. This is when psychoanalysis is being discovered. The Interpretation of Dreams in 1988. 3 essays on sexuality. And the 2 papers what we will be reading from, Ego and Id, and Civilization and Discontent. Again, I will just skip, right? I will put this on the internet, a brief summary of Ego and Id and Civilization and Discontent. Just very briefly, Max Weber, a German historian, legal theorist and sociologist, born in Frankfurt, studied at Heidelberg and elsewhere, had also a nervous breakdown, recovers it from 92, beginning to work on religion, and writes Economy and Society right in 1920. The major work is what you will be reading, The Protestant Ethic, 1903-1904, and sections of his major unfinished work, Economy and Society. Again, I just skip and go to our last author, Emile Durkheim, a French social scientist who was born in 1958 as a son of a rabbi, but became an atheist later on and converted back to religiosity later in life. Was a professor in France. The major works are what you will be reading from The Division of Labor, then The Rules of Sociological Method, his wonderful book, The Suicide, and what you will not be reading from for this course is Elementary Form of Religious Life. So that's about the course, and I hope very much I didn't scare you, but made you interested in it. I will put the slides on internet so you can skim